2K Nitro. Stopping again, stopping by again to do a quick pop up live because I have some time. About to catch a flight, but I wanted to sit down and talk to y'all for a second. Those who are listening, make sure if you haven't, make sure you subscribe and follow. I have a lot of information to give. I will give as much as I can while I'm breathing. This information is useful for anybody at times, but mostly I'm talking to the fellas at times, mostly. But either way, people can take whatever I give and use it how they wish. Uh, but today I wish to speak about narcissists and demonic possession. I touched on this on my previous live, which I did a few weeks ago, but I want to touch on it again because I think it got cut off. But if you haven't, you're welcome to go check it out. All of my lives, all of my shorts, all of my videos. Appreciate it. Share, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Anyway, so if you haven't, or you don't know, I've dealt with a few narcissistic people. Uh, One in particular, I'm always kind of touch back on. She's like my inspiration for a lot of these thoughts and these ideas that I see, and I also do my own research. I follow. I listen to a lot of other specialists on the narcissist uh, personality and spectrum and all that stuff about what makes a narcissist and yada yada yada. So I do those type of researches too as well. Shout out to all the influencers that give information about narcissists and narcissistic people and toxic people that are out there because they are out there. And I didn't know it was as extensive as it is. So up until a few years ago. So, but just always be wary. But I wanted to just talk while I had the time about what I feel can happen. I do think there are some narcissists that are made through traumas and certain uh, events in their childhood that make them that way. And I also think that clinically they will be diagnosed as a narcissist just based on what I think an event happened to them where maybe a spirit entered their body, particularly as a young child. There's nothing more vulnerable than a child and a baby. So I think when children in particular have any type of situation where they're brought back, I don't know if they're oftentimes joined by other beings in that vessel, in that body. Our bodies are a vessel, it's a shell. I don't know if we're sometimes when we lose consciousness for days at a time or hours at a time, even particular, like say we're in a coma or something like that, or something happens as a child. I'm thinking from probably like from 1 up into 7, 8, or 8, around that age, maybe a little later, maybe it could be up to 10. And you have a crisis in your life, and when you're brought back, you might not be brought back by yourself. You might be joined by something you don't know what it is, and I just call it personally like another conscience telling you to do things, pushing you to do things, swaying you to do things. So this other conscience is telling you to do wrong, do wrong, do wrong, or guiding you down a path that will make you into a quote unquote narcissist as you grow up. I do think that's possible, and that leads me to why I think like that. I think like that because there are some people who, and it's another theory. These are all theories. people who grow up, particularly in religious households, I do think you're more vulnerable to all types of spirits, all types of beings in particular. So that goes back to my inspiration. She grew up in a more Christian or a more religious household, so she told me, and she ended up becoming, in my mind, and a lot of others, a narcissist. So it's like, why did that? How, if you're brought up in such an environment, how can you then grow up to become what you ultimately became, which is which is this type of being? But as I've gotten to know her and see her and be around her, I just see traits that I don't know if it's just full blown narcissism. I do think there are some other demons she's fighting. It could be the actual demon at times, or maybe my mind likes to just accept it as that, like, oh, this is what's going on, versus she just has a lot of mental issues that are making her this way, or she had a lot of childhood trauma that stunted her development that made her like that. It could be, but I wouldn't be surprised uh, if there are other factors at play in this world, in this universe. I do think spirits exist. I do think that entities are out there, good and bad. And like I said, nothing more vulnerable than a child. So if they're out there, and I do think where you would find more of these good and bad spirits would be in places where religion dwells, where you're chanting, where you're dwelling together, where you're singing, where you're coming together. I do think that that draws them in. There are other reasons why I feel like that. I won't really touch on them too deep, but it's like always a constant battle. So if if you don't already know too, a couple other women in particular, I don't date men, but a couple of women that I dated or messed with in my life that are like from a, let's say, a pastor's daughter or something like that. A lot of them, I don't know if you guys out there, you can tell me in the comments, but a lot of them have a very narcissistic, high narcissistic traits, man. I've dealt with another one. I don't know. I don't want to call her narc per se, but she has a lot of narcissistic traits for it. But she was just, she's dark. She's very light, and then she's very dark, and she grew up in that type of household too. So it's like there must be some type of correlation. At least that's how my mind rationalizes stuff and how I see things, because it just, something's not right. You have women that you would think brought up in a Catholic household, quote unquote. They would be uh, more pleasant, or more grounded. But in fact, they're the opposite. They're probably some of the most promiscuous types of women you'll find, and it's really crazy. It's really crazy when you really like think about it. So I don't know where that comes from with that, within that hemisphere of religion, and how it just makes women, some women, or some women, like they call it the Jezebel spirit. I hear too now within the narc community, Jezebel spirit, and I see that it exists. I've witnessed it. I've experienced it, the good, the good, and the bad of it. Uh, and it's like a wave. You'll deal with these types of women, and you be like, whoa, they will be like the epitome of what you want in a woman. They'll be submissive. They'll be friendly. They'll do all the things that you want done to you sexually under the umbrella. But at some point, they're gonna either cheat on you, they're gonna do some grimy stuff to you, and they're gonna get you so attached because they're gonna be doing all the things. They're gonna know all the right buttons to push, all the right buttons. And this is another crazy thing. I'll probably touch on another video. Maybe the next one I'll touch on what I'm talking about, because particular women know the strings to pull on with a man to get them hooked and attached and like just flat out. I want to say in love. If you're not strong enough, you probably would think it's love, and then you'll end up going crazy over these women and doing some crazy stuff. But you're really holding on to the past. You're not accepting reality. You're not accepting the current state of things with what's going on because what you saw was a facade, was a fantasy, was all designed to hook you in and trap you, but it wasn't. It wasn't to actually try to produce something positive from that experience, which is crazy and it's sad. It's really sad. That's why you gotta really just be patient with people and get to know them over time. And I don't want to say don't get close to people, but you gotta just be very cautious. Sometimes when something doesn't add up, it doesn't add up. Like if a woman displaying all these high traits that are like off the charts, like the most feminine, cooperative, highly sexual woman you ever met so fast, you have to just say like, whoa, this is something not right. There's something not right here. But going back to what the topic says, yeah, I do think there is something with that. I do think there are some women that are bred to be narcs or people. Let me not say women, but people bred to be narcs. And I do think there are some demonic things at play that make people into narcs against their own will, or uh, they push them down certain paths that ultimately meant to be they become more narcissistic. But if they say, let's say hypothetically, if they had an exorcism, maybe they wouldn't be a quote unquote narc. But how would you know? You can't tell. You can't tell the difference. It's the same thing. Going back to my inspiration, narc, why I feel she also is, she has a lot of tattoos, man. She has a lot. I think that's like an outcry, like an inner child, or some type of, because if you ever notice with that type of fields or the demon stuff, a lot of times they're depicted with tattoos and stuff all over the markings on their bodies. She marks up her body a lot with a lot of different stuff. It's almost like demonically, like I don't want to say people get tattoos are demonic, but it's just with her in particular, it's like some kind of like somebody crying in there to get out that can't get out. I don't know who's running the show like half the time. Like just and if you ever met her, she's attractive, very attractive. But and you think like, oh, this is a woman you want to get close to, you want to marry, da da da. But then when you get to see different sides of her, you see different personalities up in there, different things going on with her. That's like it's sad. It's really sad. Like you really want to try to help, but you know you can't. You're powerless. You're powerless. There's nothing really you can do because we today don't have the proper tools. If let's say it is some sort of possession going on with her in particular, we don't have the tools, in my opinion, to exercise that to to get that out. In my opinion, could we? I don't know, maybe, but in my opinion, I don't think we do. So it's like it's really sad, and I do think that's why they say narcissists are not in tune with their soul because who knows who's running the show? That may be a part of it too. Maybe a part of it. So it's just really interesting and really sad. Some of the people because I get it. Some narcs are very beautiful. They're very captivating. They're very enticing. They'll sell you a dream. They'll sell you a fantasy, and you're like, this person doesn't seem real. This person wants to do all these great things and do all this stuff with me, and you want them with that person, but then when you realize it's all a facade, it breaks you, it hurts you. It's like, damn, I really like this person. I thought this person was all for me. I thought the Most High sent them for me, but then it's like maybe he didn't send them. Maybe he was an agent the other one to try to, because I do think those people are more drawn to empathic people, people with good hearts, people with good spirits. That goes in more in line with what I say, like demonic possession could go along with the narcs. Because why they always drawn to good people? They're not drawn to bad people. They're 9 times out of 10 they're drawn to good people. So that they could be an agent of the other one to try to destroy the good souls in the world. You know, so it's really sad. These people out here, I'm not trying to excuse their behavior because I don't know. I'm saying it's a possibility that they're not always in control of what they're doing. You just got to kind of see who they are and put up your boundaries against them and deal with them at your own way, pretty much. You know, most of them probably ain't gonna like it, but that's the only way you can protect yourself right now. It's unfortunate. Some people are gonna get got. I mean, they're gonna get used, and discarded. They're going to. It's just how it goes, and it's really sad. But more people know about these people that exist, the more help can be given. Can there be? They say there can be therapy given to these people, but maybe they need to go deeper with these people. Some the ones that I do think is all types of, well, I don't say all types, but I do think we're talking about people. I do think narcissist people are made through traumas in their house and their environment, and then there's those that, like I said again, might get possessed at some point in their childhood, and then they become more into that space and more narcissistic, more demonic, more they do more bad things. They'll put on a show of good, but in reality, they're trying to do bad. So yeah, you got to be very careful when you come across people. And a lot of times, these people are very captivating. They know how to draw you in. They know how to talk a good one. They know how to put on a show. They know how to, you know, create a way to where you want to get next to them. And they're gonna give you this. And it's if you are religious, it's very enticing how certain things line up with what they say in these books. How they try to seduction. They're very good at seducing you. That's the word I look for. They're very good at seducing you. They will seduce you, and you'll get attached, and then they'll discard you, and it'll be like the worst pain you could feel. And then you'll come to find out this was all a show. This is all a fantasy. They're doing this to somebody else, or they did this behind your back, or they did this to somebody you know that hurt you. And it's like, damn, this is like a really good person, one of the best people I ever met, or I thought I met, and they're complete opposite. And they'll never take accountability. They'll deny, lie. Oh, that's not true. It's a lie. And then they'll silence you. They'll give you the silent treatment. They'll ghost you. Then they'll pop up whenever they feel like it. Months, weeks, years later. Mine was years later. After we cut. I discarded her. She probably say she discarded me. But once that happens, she popped up years later trying to act like nothing ever happened. But I don't forget nothing. I just put up more boundaries and deal with people like that a certain way. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta be very, very careful out there. I'm just here to just spread the word. Not here to cast judgment. Not here to say those people don't need to be held accountable for their actions. Uh, I do think the families and friends of these people need to see the signs. Like if you got a person that's getting married all over, having kids all over, that should be a warning sign. Like some sort of intervention is needed. Like, hey, such and such, why you keep getting married and divorced, married and divorced? Something's not adding up. That's not right. Yeah, you might be attractive. Yeah, you might, but for anybody to get married and divorced so many times, something's going on. And then that's when it's the families, if you have family, that's the only thing, if you have family. That's why families are so important. And in society, that they're not as valued as they need to be. But that's why families are so important. Because when you have family, family can help family more than a friend or a stranger can. So that's what because they're the closest thing to you. So his family should be pulling this person. Hey, let's work on resolving why you keep having this problem and see if we can fix it. And then this is where family can help, or this is where information out there. Let's go down the list of possibilities. Okay, let's look at your childhood. What happened that made you think that it's okay to get married and divorced 4 or 5 times, have multiple kids by multiple men? What made you think that that was okay? What made you think that lying, cheating, whatever you're doing is okay out there? Let's get to the bottom of this. Let's get you some therapy. And if therapy don't work, let's talk to somebody that maybe, like I said, maybe that deals with possession. Because I do think, again, some of these people could be possessed. They could have, or they could have some type of demon within them that they need to get exercised somehow. I don't know if we can, as humans, push those things out. That's up to you as on your religious beliefs. If it can be done, I would say look into doing it with these people that I'm talking about. And how do you know which one is which? That's a good question. How do you know which one is which? I do think it's harder to tell because they're gonna mirror each other, meaning uh, it goes back to family, knowing their childhood. Did this person have uh, a situation when they was a kid where they almost died? Okay, let's start there. So then, from that point on, were there signs of them changing? You have to go back and think, or that's what a therapist could investigate. Tell me more about when this happened to you, and how was your life different from when it didn't happen to you, and what was. That's how you get to the bottom of that. Versus, you'll have people who um, were just abandoned as kids, and then you know that okay, more than likely it's due to life traumas that made them into a narcissistic person or a highly narcissistic person versus potential demonic situation that presents itself. I'm trying to give you the tools to know how to differentiate which one is which, because I know it can be tricky. It can be. It can be hard to say, okay, but what can you do? You with not being a family member, can't really do much. It's up to them to want to seek the help. It's up to the family to help that person. It's up to somebody that they would have to really want to change. And I know these beings, if we're dealing with, if we're talking about that, it's like if they have a grasp on them for so long, it's hard for them to just, not uh, want to do anything about it. Because I guess they probably feel comfortable with that conscience in the back of their brain all these years, or maybe they have a grip on them. I don't know how it works because I'm not in those people's minds 100%. So I don't know how it works, but somehow we have to do our best to understand what's going on. I know avoidance is a big thing, and I get it. Nobody should deal with people like this at all. But once you see them, you should do your best to put up boundaries. I think naturally they'll remove themselves from your life, and unfortunately they're going to be going from person to person until they discard that person. They're just going to be doing that forever. And it's really sad. These people are out there. But this is why we as empaths have to come together and understand these people exist and not allow these things to happen to these people so that these people are not constantly hurting others. We're giving the information to others so they can protect themselves and fight themselves. And hopefully the families could intervene at some point with these individuals that need the help mentally and get the help that they need so they can stop affecting other people in a negative way. Because it's very sad, it's very unfortunate. Some of these people, I say being some of these people are very beautiful people. Like, and it's sad. It's a waste. It's a waste of a attractive person because of their mental. It's I don't call them a waste, but it's almost like a waste. It's really sad. It's really sad. But yeah. So hopefully you, whoever's watching live or on the playback, got something from this. I don't want to talk forever. I do have to go soon. If you got anything positive from this, feel free to let me know. Drop a comment, drop a like. I will try to give as much information as I can on different things that I in my life experience. I'm very well traveled, very well experienced. I want to try to help as many people as possible, particularly the fellas. Uh, so they could avoid certain types of particular types of women. I'm big on narcissistic people, narcissistic women in particular out there. You have to just be cautious of them when they come about and how to deal with them, how to avoid them if you want to avoid them, or how to deal with them if you want to deal with them. I don't want to make this into like, oh, how to use, because a lot of them aren't, if you notice, aren't always the smartest. If you know how to outsmart them, it's like outsmarting a child. You got to kind of know how a child thinks. But I don't want this to become like how to use and abuse a narc. But yeah, just like, comment, subscribe. I will try to give as much info as I can daily, as often as I can if you like it. This is DJ 2K Nitro. It's another video. Hope you enjoy. I'll talk to you later. Peace.